Let's start with examining the Trump administration, and let's call it for what it is. I've came up with a term called the TTE, the Trump Twilight Zone experience. Not trying to be funny, I'm just calling the thing, the Trump Twilight Zone experience. What are the core principles of the Trump Twilight Zone experience? Dishonesty, dysfunction, delusion, deflection, no accountability, and chaos. These are the principles of the Trump Twilight Zone experience. So whenever you're dealing with Trump and his administration or MAGA, remember to use these principles because they apply to everything that's going on. And if you do this, you'll see it falls right in line, right in place. So let's repeat again. The Trump Twilight Zone experience: dishonesty, dysfunction, delusional, deflection, no accountability, and chaos. Remember the principles. So let's get right to it. The immediate situation that's going on right now is a flash flood in Texas. My hearts go out to all the families that's lost loved ones, and it's very, very unfortunate. But we'll pray for the people that have lost family members. It's very important that we do that. And send support as needed if we can help. Now, with that being said, it may be too soon to put the blame on certain people, but there are some things that are just apparent, that are just clear, and there's no doubt about it. There's no denying this. FEMA was fully funded when Biden left office. Mr. Trump decided he wanted to defund or dismantle FEMA. As I've been told from all my family members that raised me, if something is working, even with all the flaws, you stay with that, you use that until you have something to replace that almost immediately. Otherwise, you're breaking down the whole structure, the whole situation, and you're not helping it. So with that being said, first of all, the Trump Twilight Zone experience. He's decided to hire people in his cabinet that are unqualified. They're not qualified for the positions. They were put there to be yes men or yes women to Donald Trump, which is not healthy for America. We need people to be independent thinkers. Yes, you work for the president, but you work for the American people. So, also to the Constitution of America. So now, if you're not being loyal or being professional with doing your job, not just being a yes man to Trump, meaning be loyal and professional to the Constitution of America. And also, you work for the people. Yes, Donald Trump was elected by the people, yes. But Donald Trump is supposed to be the president for all people, whether he likes them or he likes them, but that's not the point. Your job is to be president for all people, meaning protect all people, meaning to be there in a disaster, meaning to represent all people, all times. You can't just make it separate because, oh, if you don't vote for me, I don't want to have anything to do with you. This is the wrong job. You don't need to have a president job if you feel that way. Mr. Trump seems to think that if you didn't vote for him or you don't support his administration or MAGA, then he shouldn't do anything to help you, which is very unprofessional, immature, and that is not the job of president. That's just not what it is. Now, with that being said, these people that lost their lives in Texas because of the breakdown with FEMA and quick responses, also to be alerted before the floods came through. There are people that were put in place through FEMA to give alerts and alarm systems through your phone to let you know there's going to be high water, high floods, water's going to be raising, you might need to get out of the area, move to safety. Okay? Just like the Amber Alerts, like here in California, where if someone is kidnapped or something, they have an Amber Alert on our phones and it come on all our phones. Same thing, same kind of system that should have been in place in Texas. Now, Mr. Trump was asked, why wasn't these things done? His response was, this was a 100-year flood or once in a lifetime flood. False, not true. This is flash flood alley. This particular area has been getting flash floods for years. Maybe not as high as these floods this time, but they were having floods before and people have lost their lives. So that with being said, you know this can happen anytime, so you have to be prepared, right? You have to at least have a safety net, have something in place to save as many lives as possible. Now, when you ask Mr. Trump and people in the administration to be accountable, there's always some type of pushback and anger and derogatory statements, which is, going back to the Trump ties on experience, which is a form of deflection and dishonesty and dysfunction and no accountability. Remember that, those are the principles. So, like any president or vice president that's leading the country at the time, if we ask you a question, answer the question. If you can't answer the question, you say, well, we have to look into it, we're investigating, we'll get back with you. You don't say, oh, that's evil, we don't need to be talking about that. No, people have lost their lives, we need to be talking about that. Yeah, we need to talk about that in real time. Now, with that being said, we have to understand, this is part of the reason why a lot of people that worked for Donald Trump before the election, a lot of people that were closely around Donald Trump before the election, told you he will be a disaster. He wants to be a dictator. Okay? These things were said. Okay? You have to understand, if someone knows someone and they tell you who they are, that's who they are. Besides that, Mr. Trump has always been a liar, a con man, a psychopathic liar, con man. So why would you believe that this time in his life, if you vote for him, he's going to tell you the truth and be honest? That's kind of confusing to me. If a person is a liar, he's always going to be a liar. If he's a con man, he's always going to be a con man. Now, what I want to explain is most of America, they didn't vote for Donald Trump, they don't support Donald Trump, but they do understand that he's the president, so they want him to do well and be functional. So if he can be functional, that's fine. We don't have to love you, just be functional, do your job. Unfortunately, Mr. Trump has proven the first 5-6 months of his term, he's not being functional. He's not functioning well. He's continuing to lie to us. He's not doing his job. The Congress is not checking him. They're not putting checks and balance on him. He's doing a lot of horrible things to the country, which is incredible. And the Supreme Court justices seem to be a rubber stamp. Now, I really don't understand what their end game is. I don't know what they think this is going to accomplish, let them do these things. But the reality is, somebody got to pay for this. There's got to be some answers. There's got to be some accountability. Now, right now, ain't nobody checking him because Congress seems to be afraid of him, afraid to lose their seats, or he runs someone against them to lose their seats, what have you. I'm going to just say this. We, as American people, this can't get much worse Because I'm thinking that just like we've had a Million Man March, we've had different marches, pretty much close to time till we start marching on Washington in masses, like 2 million, 3 million, and then hold your elected officials in your state accountable for allowing him to do this. Now, one thing I would like to say, Matt, I want you to understand that hate, discrimination, and racism can rot from the inside out. It may make you feel good for a while, but it rots from the inside out. It's very important for you to understand that we are all interconnected, whether you love us or hate us, whether you love the immigrants or hate them, we're all interconnected. We need each other to survive. Now, this is something that you got to understand. Look at yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself, did I vote for this? Do I want to support this? Now, if you are enjoying the hate and discrimination and racism, good luck. You got to face your God and face yourself with that. For the rest of you, the rest of MAGA, I want you to come out of the darkness into the light. Admit that you made a mistake. I get it. We all do. You bet on the wrong horse. You went with racism. Maybe you didn't. You went with he's going to change the economy. But the reality is, it seems like a lot of you forgot his first term. And also, you forget that he's a con man. So when he tells you these things about the country or about the government, you seem to forget that he's a con man. He's a grifter. That's what it is. A psychopathical liar. Now, when Biden and Harris took over and they became president and vice president, they took over a country that was in a disastrous state. It was very disastrous. Okay, COVID-19, economy was in the tank, etc., etc. Now, they were trying to improve the economy all the time. Mr. Trump was in the background trashing them. So you have to understand something. Why would you want to be a part of a person or a movement that if they're not in office, I just want to trash everything. Everything is trash. We don't need that. We need someone, whether you're in office or not, you still want America to be successful. And that doesn't mean trying to trash it when you're not in power. Now, the bottom line is, Biden could have did a whole lot of more good for us in this country if Congress would have worked with him. The Republicans, some of the senators. And Donald Trump was still in control of the Republican Party. So everything that Biden wanted to do, they were against it just on the strength of wanting him to fail. But see, you gotta want to be successful for the American people, so we all can prosper. You can't root for the Democratic president to fail because to make him look bad and get a Republican in there, that doesn't make any sense. You have to work together as a team to be successful. I want to finish by saying one particular thing. Most people want to be successful. If they can be wealthy, fine. If they can live well, that's fine too. But most of all, most people just want to be able to take care of their families, raise their kids, make sure they're safe. If they got enough money, send them to college, make sure they're prepared for life, and just live a somewhat decent, comfortable life. Now, whether you're white, black, or Chinese, or whatever your nationality is, we are all interconnected. We need to be together, work together. You don't necessarily have to live in the same neighborhood if you want to, but we need to work together when we can, in the area that we can. Now, we have to live through this Trump tri-zone experience. It's very, very, very taxing, very painful, very psychotic. The bottom line is, we got to come together and do what we can and help the Democrats get the House and the Senate back. All of MAGA that voted for Trump, that he's inflicting pain on you, that you thought he was only going to inflict pain on people of color. I'm not going to judge. We're not going to go back and forth on that. All I want you to know is you have to learn from your mistakes. You have to understand you can't survive on hate, discrimination, and racism. It's unsustainable. With that being said, just remember, this is Papa West on Politics, and I'll see you next time.